Hello there, and today I'm playing the very first version of Minecraft I ever played. Well, one of the first. I played Pocket Edition a little before this, but yeah, this is the first real version I played. I don't remember what this update was called, but the Java Edition equivalent is 1.4 point something. I know because anvils are in the game, but a lot of the 1.5 redstone content isn't. And at this time, there are only 2 flowers and 4 types of wood. I miss these days sometimes. I think most people do, really. So I guess I'll be playing a few days in this version. There's some sugar cane. This is the old swamps, and the water was not colorful at this time. Back in these days, the game was so much more simple. And even then, it was still pretty complicated compared to what it was like alpha and beta. But it's still far ahead of the very first version of the Xbox 360. Unfortunately, I was not around to play that one. I mean, I was alive when it came out, but I never got around to playing that version of Minecraft. Because I never owned an Xbox 360, mainly. Oh, but I didn't really hear about, or hadn't really heard of Minecraft until they dropped, like, the version that I'm playing right now. Oh, well, well, other than Minecraft Pocket Edition, which I played in, like, 2013, so a couple years after it came out. After the ages of, like, Pocket Edition Lite and stuff, but before it was quite as good as a modern game. That's when I don't remember much about those days. I don't remember if I was playing before or after the Nether was added, for one thing. Because one of my earliest memories is finding out about the Nether, because my brother told me. Yeah, eventually, after those days, we would get this, where these days only lasted a few months, but after that we would get it on the PlayStation 3. I'm playing it on the PS4, but it's pretty much the same over here. Didn't I have to kill this guy? Yeah, back in these days, there was only 3 real food sources, which is still better than what we had, albeit really I'm not sure I'm a fan of the hunger system. It's what I've always had, but I've played beta before. I have Java Edition on my computer, so you can go back. And personally, I kind of like the old beta food and hunger system, or I guess there was no hunger system, so I like how things used to be back in those days. And sometimes I wish I had played the game to experience it. Yeah, I'm playing on a more recent version, slightly. This version came out in like 2012, I think, 2013. And I would have probably ended up playing a later version of the game, like 1.5 is my first version, if it hadn't have been for not really having internet in those days, because we lived out in the country. So, no real internet access. Yeah, these versions bring back a lot of memories. Like the non-colorful beds, for instance. Which I think is fine. Honestly, I usually make a red bed, unless I don't find any red stuff, like red flowers or whatnot. And sometimes I'll even play with old textures. So I may not have played on the same version as a lot of people's first version, but this is a version I will always remember. It's a game I grew up with. Now, what else do I need? I'm gonna go ahead and get stone tools. Even then, I'm playing a lot more like I do nowadays than how I used to. Instead of getting like back in the day, we'd get all the wooden tools instead of going straight for instead of just a pickaxe and going for stone. Yeah, another thing I miss about these old worlds is that they were kind of limited. Like, they weren't big worlds, like Infinite. There's like a small area, or a much smaller area. And on the PS4, you can have more than one world size, but I usually play with the smallest world size, just because of the nostalgia. Yeah, sometimes I wish there was something that allowed you to actually change the version that you're in, because I had to delete my Minecraft and then reinstall it to get this version. And eventually I'm gonna go back to the modern day too, because, well, these versions are nice. Well, all of my valuable and important to me worlds are on the modern version. And I kind of want to return at some point. And I also had to disable my internet just to be able to play this too. And of course there's also the old music, which I like more. I actually play with music in these older versions, unlike the newer versions. I don't know what is about the new music, but there's only a couple of tracks, or new soundtracks in the new music that I actually like. Most of them I'm just not a big fan of. And another thing about these old worlds is that they felt a lot more empty. I mean, not the console edition worlds. I never really had that emptiness feeling here, but they were so much less exciting, so much less populated. And I don't really know what else to say about these old versions, really. I guess the question of whether old Minecraft was better is kind of subjective. Because in some ways, yes, it was better, but in some ways, not as much, so. One of my only real problems with old Minecraft is that I can't turn the FOV up. And I always play with a high FOV in the modern day. I don't know why, it just feels better to me. But in these versions, you couldn't really turn it up, so you had to adjust to the less wide field of view. I don't actually know what it is on console. But yeah, now I'm headed for the plains over there. Let's see the other settings, like... Actually, I remember what I meant if I turned that setting all the way down. Turn the interface opacity all the way up. Yeah, one of the things that I actually kind of like about the old versions is how much less, or how much more rough around the edges it feels compared to the modern day. I mean, the graphics don't look as nice, the animal movements, or mob movements are pretty janky and everything. And the sounds are old and everything. Albeit not really as old as they could be, because they're not like the, I think, pre-1.3 sounds, which I guess anyone who played Minecraft in like the alpha and beta days would remember what things sounded like pre-1.3, with the grass and the sand. And breaking the sand back before then sounded like breaking, I think, dirt. I don't remember, because as I mentioned, that isn't the version I started with. Yeah, I wish these old soundtracks would play more often in the modern days. Unfortunately, however, we don't have that luxury. It might be a good idea to go into this cave. It's starting to get a little late, after all. And so these are the old caves. I have mixed feelings on them, because on one hand, the new caves are so much more exciting and interesting to explore. But on the other hand, these... I just have good memories of these caves. Specifically in the tutorial world on this version, I would go into them, and there's this one specific cave by a mountainside that I remember having a lot of diamonds in it, so I would always go in there. Yeah, the tutorial world for this probably isn't what you're thinking of when it comes to Minecraft tutorials. Because the modern, because it ain't the really nostalgic Xbox 360 world. This world is a different one. It's got a bigger castle and everything. That's about it, really. And it showcases things that didn't really exist in Xbox 360, such as the anvil and the, I don't actually remember much about these old updates. Because I was quite young when I was playing this version, like, I don't remember. I'm not going to specify because I don't tell people that information, but I was a lot younger back when I was playing old Minecraft Alpha, or not Alpha, I was not that old. I'm not that, I wasn't around for Alpha, unfortunately. But I do remember, oh, hello there. Ah, more of the old sounds. Might want to light this cave up a little bit more. Because it's clear that I'm not the only one who wants to live down here. Got some iron. Could use that. Would say something about the iron dropping itself, but or iron dropping the block instead of raw ore, but that was a more recent change. That's like 1.18, I think. Or 1.17 or 1.18, so not too far in the past. You know, I might want to go to sleep now. Ah, there's the old skybox at night where looking in that. Oh, it's not even fully nighttime yet. Yeah, I guess that's not exciting. There. But I do remember the nighttime skybox looking more interesting. Except that could just be rose-tinted glasses or whatever the saying is. I don't really know. And then you have the old mountains, which I really wouldn't mind if these were added back to the game as like some new biome. I liked the old mountains. They looked cool, I guess. There's no snow or anything. They had really weird terrain. And they're so much better compared to the post. I actually forgot what update it was that updated the mountains, but these mountains are actually honestly better than the pre 1.17 mountains. They're like the second type of second tier of mountains before they updated them. And so yeah, some of the things I say contradict themselves. It's because my memories of these days are a little foggy. I don't have too many of them. But I don't think it matters too much. That's really not much else to say. So I guess for now, hope you enjoyed this less than good video where I'm going back and reliving the good old days from before now.